everyone to TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. I'm your host, TJ, and with me here, as always, is the Grumpy Old Man. They say there's no shame in his game because he's always the same.
That's me.
Grumpy, how are you doing on this fine Thursday evening? Thursday around 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. How you doing, Grumpy?
Good. Doing good. How about yourself? Doing well. I'm doing well.
Well, sad news today in the world of sports. Pele passed there earlier on today. But for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. This is a twice a week sports podcast. So we talk everything sports. We talk NFL, NHL, European football, basketball, NBA, college basketball, college football, baseball. We talk any NHL. We talk anything and everything sports. Also with a fan favorite fan fight segment. So we talk anything and everything sports. If you're new to the channel, we invite you to stick around a while. We invite you to subscribe we invite you to subscribe on YouTube, to like on Facebook, and to follow on Twitter. Also, if you like the content, the best way to let us know that you enjoy the content is by leaving a thumbs up right here. If I have my screen, if you leave a thumbs up, apparently it helps the algorithm and it gets mine and the Grumpy Old Man's word out to the masses. But today we've got a lot to cover. We get to cover Derek Carr, pretty much stepping away from the Raiders after he's been benched. So
Zach Wilson.
Yeah, Zach Wilson. Goodbye. We get to talk a little bit about. We're talking NFL. Man, oh man, Tua Tagovailoa, another concussion. Third concussion of the season. We're going to talk a little about that. Yikes. We'll talk a little bit about how they determined he had a concussion.
He fell down. They made a determination he had a concussion because he fell down.
No. You're not aware of what actually occurred then.
I saw what happened. He played like dog shit, so they had to come up with a reason why.
No. They asked him if he maybe had a concussion on Monday when he came back to the office. And he said, "Oh, yeah, maybe I did," and everything. So, there's an interesting take on it by Emmanuel Acho. So we'll listen to that, too. So we'll talk about Tua. We'll talk about the passing of Pele, Passing of Pele. We're also going to go ahead and speak. What are you doing? We're also going to speak a little bit about the college football playoffs. Upcoming New Year's Eve, we've got the big college football playoffs kicking off, Grump. So big matchups. We're going to get to see Ohio State against Georgia. We're going to get to see Michigan against TCU, Grump. You're going to see some big matchups. What are our predictions for those big games? So that is what we have on the docket for today, Grump. But let's go ahead and start by kicking it off. Let's talk about what's going on with Derek Carr first. For all of the lovely Raider fans that are out there, Grump.
Go ahead. How do you want to do it? Tell us what happened.
I got a few things I'm going to pull up, but I want you to pull up what your thoughts are about Derek Carr. Stepping away, as I'd mentioned, he'd been benched, and now he's stepping away from the team for the last 2 weeks of the season.
Writings on the wall. Derek Carr is no longer the quarterback of the Las Vegas Raiders. Jarrett Stidham, who's worked with Josh McDaniels in the past, is the starting quarterback. Does that open a spot for the hero of the people starting next year? A lot of big things in the move. I mean, there's going to be a lot of quarterback moving and shaking. Here's the thing. Derek Carr was on the last year of his contract anyway. They weren't. So, that's it for him.
It's up for him. It's time's done for the Raiders. But more my question, more what I wanted to talk about is, what do you think about his legacy there? How it's ending? Kind of what are your thoughts about it? Right, because he's been a lifelong Raider. And I kind of want to hear what your thoughts are more on that avenue.
Good person, okay quarterback. I don't think he's going to have a whole lot of a legacy with the Raiders. I think he's the team leader in most all the stats. Different times, of course, for when LaMonica and Stabler and even Rich Gannon. Rich Gannon wasn't there forever, but guys who put up, who were really considered winners back in the day. And Derek Carr, who's not. Is it his fault? No. You're only as good as the talent around you. But he just, in big moments, you always felt like Derek Carr would throw an interception or fumble or something would go wrong. And I think you saw that again this year. Like I said, I don't dislike Derek Carr. But for Raiders' legacy, I don't think he's going to have much of one, unfortunately. What do you think he goes next, though? Indianapolis? The
Probably
latest,
Indy. I could
the, la-
see Indy. I could really see anywhere. He's definitely not going back to the Raiders.
no,
It's unfortunate how everything's transpired. Again, I think it's a good way to sum it up. Good person as a quarterback. I've never been infatuated with him. I know sometimes his numbers have looked really good, and it's funny. You see a lot of people like Shannon Sharp, Emmanuel Acho, all these people coming to the defense of Derek Carr. I didn't know he's had 6 different head coaches in the
yes,
9 seasons he's been in the league. So there's a lot of those type of things too that I think kind of add into the equation. And you talk about it. Derek Carr has never really had a great defense or supporting cast around him. I mean, these last 2 years probably had the best supporting cast he's ever had. I don't think anything of Josh McDaniels as a coach. I think he's a miserable head coach, absolutely miserable. So my take on him. I think it's more of a head coach problem than it is a Derek. I think Derek Carr when he cried at the end of the game, I was like, the writing's on the wall. I know they went on a little bit of a winning streak after that, but the writing's on the wall.
I just think, and like I mentioned earlier, I said that right at the top, not even knowing Ocho's comments or Acho's comments. I like I said, a lot of the things that went wrong were not his fault. You have a whole bunch. You got a new system coming in all the time. Very, very difficult to improve as a player. Like I said, I think that he's a good player, but is he a guy? And I think on the right team, he could lead you to a Super Bowl. I mean, gosh, if Matt Stafford was able to do it, Derek Carr could as well. But you have to have all the dominoes fall into place. It just wasn't going to happen with the Raiders. And it's like, where is he going to go next? He'll absolutely go somewhere else. He won't get paid what he's getting paid now. But I think for a guy as a second-round pick, he's had a very successful NFL career. But it's not like you're going to say, hey, who was one of the greats of our time? It's not going to be Derek Carr. You won't hear his name.
I say when you look at since Raiders, right? Would you say he was better than Rich Gannon?
No.
It was a different time period. I know Rich at that time period was considered a gunslinger. Gunslingers have changed a lot over the last 20 years.
Rich Gannon was a journeyman before he got to the Raiders.
Yes.
And then he had John Gruden as the head coach, and he had a career revitalization. I never thought Rich Gannon was a great quarterback, but he won a league MVP one year. But I don't think that Carr was as good as Rich Gannon at the time. But people forget what a good head coach John Gruden was, particularly his first time in the league. I mean, he was one of the guys. He was like the guy.
Yeah.
And
He was even the guy there in Tampa that first time too.
well, that's how they won. That's how they won the Super Bowl, was under John Gruden the first year he was there.
Yeah, but I want you to listen a little bit about this. And here's the thing. When I first thought it, I said, wow. I said, does it shock me? My initial reaction was the guy who cried is now quitting on the team. Does that shock me at all? No. And I didn't necessarily have a great initial reaction to it, but I think these people help put things in perspective a little bit for me, at least.
I don't look at it that way. I guess I look at it this way. Obviously, Josh McDaniels they're moving on from Derek Carr. That's why they're benching him. Was Derek Carr the problem with his team this year? No, he was not. Is Jarrett Stidham a better quarterback than Derek Carr? No, he's not. What it tells me is, I mean, if you're Derek Carr and he's like, hey, we're going to bench you for the last 2 games, why should I be here? He said he was supportive of the plays, but why would he be there? So you're going to tell me maybe if he gets hurt, then you're going to throw me in there? You don't have faith in me? I mean, I don't blame him at this point after 9 years with the same team. You get benched. And here's the thing. It's not like the guy behind you is nipping on your heels for, to get the starting job. That's not the case. It just means they're moving on from you. It is what it is. I don't blame him. And like I said, really good guy, though. Really great teammate. I don't think you're going to see anyone say anything different.
I don't think I have an issue with it either. But I'm not a big fan of when things get tough or you get removed. Time for me to just go ahead and walk. I'm going to walk away. Okay, Zach Wilson, buddy. Zach Wilson, don't even bother showing up to the rest of the Jets practice, man. Get ready, save up. They're going to trade you in the offseason. Don't worry about it, Zach Wilson. Don't start showing up to practice.
The difference is Zach Wilson's under contract after this year. Derek Carr is not. That's the difference.
I don't want to go down the rabbit.
It's 2 weeks in a lost season where they're kind of scapegoating you. I don't have a problem with it. I mean, so what? He's just sit on the bench. Hey, great job. I don't blame him.
Yeah. Anyway, I do want. I only got to say is this: I would have expected him to finish out the rest of the season with them. going gets tough, gets set, and they say, "Here you go." I'm not sure. I just
How
thought
much?
he was going to finish out those last 2 games, whether
Okay.
on the bench, whatever it is,
Did
with
he?
the team in the Raiders uniform.
I don't think he said that he's not going to be on the bench.
He's walking away.
Okay. Okay. All right.
He
Maybe
got
I got a
he was
different.
going to get benched last 2 games this season. He's walking away.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Raiders just sit him, and he's just walking away. Anyway, I'll let you listen to Emmanuel Acho.
Josh McDaniels, this is a terrible decision, and shame on him. Derek Carr is likely the best thing that's happened to Josh McDaniels as a head coach, and you have the audacity to bench maybe the best thing that's happened to you as a head coach. Let's talk about who Derek Carr is. Derek Carr has had 6 head coaches in his 9 years in the league. Dennis Allen, Tony Sperano, John Gruden, Del Rio, Bisaccia, and now McDaniels. Derek Carr has had MVP votes. Derek Carr is a 3-time Pro Bowler. Derek Carr, the last 4 seasons, averages a 68% completion percentage. Then you show up, Josh McDaniels, and it's down to 60%. See, Josh McDaniels without Derek Carr, we know is bad. But Derek Carr without Josh McDaniels, we know is good.
So what do you think of that? What do you think of that take? And I'm not going to make you guys sit through 2 minutes of it, but essentially it is Josh McDaniels has caused the issues and the reason for struggle for Derek Carr this year. And it's not really on Derek Carr. It's more on Josh McDaniels.
Here's the thing. I think the Raiders drop a lot of passes. They have Devontae Adams. The numbers should be higher than they are. But, I mean, it's a whole new system. Anytime you bring in a whole new system, I just don't think Derek Carr is a fit for that system. But it's painful to watch him at the line saying who the mic is. It's painful. It is. For me, I don't understand. I understand why he did it. Derek Carr's not the answer. Derek Carr's gone at the end of the year. I could see why he did it, and they want to see if Stidham can be anything, even a serviceable backup, but they're looking for a new quarterback.
I do want to show you something. Do you remember Greg Prado, Grumpy? Grumpy,
yes,
listener, friend of the show, Grumpy, Greg Prado. He sent me a picture. He said he got his little Christmas gift in, Grump. Do you see who that is, Grumpy, on his shirt? That's the Grumpy's Groupie shirt, Grump. Look at him.
That's a smart one.
Himself. Look at that. I'll have to show that tomorrow. I'll have to show that on Saturday. He's got his Islanders gear on. That's great.
And I also have something I'm doing for Greg, but I haven't done it yet.
Okay.
Greg, I've not forgotten about you. I've been
over there.
I've had with all with the Suns are in town. I've just been spending time with them.
Anyway, long story short, Derek Carr has been causing issues amongst the Raider fans. The Raider fans have been unhappy with what they've seen from Derek Carr on the field, and what that has led to is a lot of fan fights. So, we do have some fan fights, and these are going to be specifically Raiders fan fights today. So we're going to get fortunate. We get to watch some Raiders fan fights. I know they're going to be early, right? 13 minutes in doing some fan fights, but hey, it feeds in. Derek Carr causing issues.
Hold on. Is this Hong Kong Phooey?
The way he moves, he's trying to be like Hong Kong Phooey. He's trying to do like he knows some sort of
he knows karate or something.
It doesn't go well. I'll let you watch it. You know what's bad when you see that this
Khalil Mack was Khalil Mack 52 for them?
Yes.
Okay.
You see a frog tog with Bud Light on it for this lady down here. You know there's been some drinking going on in this stand.
It's hot.
Uh-huh.
Why is this? What the hell is this guy doing? What are you doing? Are you kidding me? Oh, now see, that's not right. What's the other guy jumping in for? What's Woodson jumping in for? That's not Woodson's fight.
Woodson
jumped in. Let me tell you something. Woodson's been a freaking bust ever since. The best thing Charles Woodson ever did was be part of the Tuck Rule game. That's the best thing he ever did. It put the people's champion on the map. That's what happened. Good job, Woodson. You can't take it away. The people's champion established himself against you and the Raiders.
I've got to watch this one more time.
I don't understand. It's almost like it's a setup.
I don't know. Those punches don't look like it's a setup. They're not friendly punches he's throwing.
I don't know what Hong Kong Phooey Carr is doing, but I mean, Khalil Mack is. I mean, he's being nice.
He's sober. He's like, dude, please stop.
Yeah, he should have put his hands. Maybe just slapped his hands away or whatever. But I mean, Hong Kong Fooey Carr kind of gets what he deserves here. I just don't like the fact that Woodson, Yi of the Tuck rule, comes in and puts himself into this confrontation. Sorry.
He's getting all his personal.
What? And again,
No, you know what he is? That's freaking Captain Insano. That's not Hong Kong Fooey. He tried to jab him with 2 fingers, boom, in the eyes, like freaking Captain Insano from Waterboy Grump.
no, that's
But he had glasses to protect him.
that was Bobby Boucher who did that, not Captain Insano. Get it
Bobby
straight.
Boucher. Boom. Okay. I thought what Captain
Courtesy
Insano
of Captain Insano.
Captain Insano shows no mercy. Boom. He hits him with a little whatever. So we got Bobby Boucher actually, Grumpy, who's in there. I messed it up, but Bobby Boucher actually is there. It's not Hong Kong Fooey Carr. It's Bobby Boucher.
I want to look at the size difference. Khalil Mack is 2 steps lower than him, and he's still taller by about 6 inches over Hong Kong Fooey Carr at this point in time.
Oh, good gracious.
And he just hits it. Oh, see, that's just, I mean, why the hell are you doing that? And he's still coming at him. Why?
He's like,
why?
Oh, good gracious.
And I don't know, 81, is that old Warren Wells jersey? I don't know who's 81 for the Raiders. Oh, maybe Tim Brown was 81. Look at this.
He didn't even really punch him that hard.
He kind of hits him on the side of the face. I don't even understand.
He hides that punch. He's got his right arm up.
It wasn't even much of a punch. It's not even much of a punch.
I know, but it's more the fact that the guy wasn't expecting it.
Okay.
He just looks like he's obliterated drunk.
There's no body behind it, no shoulder behind it. It's just kind of like a little slap job on him. Yeah. I mean, and he's already on Wobble Street, and then Charles Woodson doing something he couldn't do against the People's Champion in the tuck roll, knocks out Hong Kong Fooey.
The first punch, Charles Woodson misses.
Oh, they got it with that and dropped him. That guy ought to.
You like how Charles Woodson then runs away because he knows he's like, I've just committed assault.
You know what Charles Woodson never did? Win a Super Bowl.
I just assaulted somebody because I was not engaged in a fight and I just punched somebody from the freaking back. Hold on, is that?
He runs. And he runs like a cowardly dog.
He gets out of there as quick as he can. He says, I better watch out for the cops.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm going to get in trouble. But
here he is. Hi, Hong Kong Fooey. I wonder if he messes with them again.
He says, nope, stay down, go up there, go back home, buddy.
Look at him. There he goes. There goes Hong Kong Fooey Carr. Hey, you know what, brother? Don't hit Khalil Mack. Why did he do that? I don't even understand. I wish we'd have some context why he does something idiotic like that. Maybe the other guy peed in his beer. I have no idea. It doesn't look like he was doing anything. Looks like he was just trying to walk up the stairs, and Hong Kong Fooey Carr was calling himself the sentry of the staircase. That's the only thing I could think.
We've got more
fights
amongst Raider fans. And this one again, one last fan fight here. Raider fans.
Uh-oh.
Going down.
Oh my goodness. Go. This looks like an MMA fight. Where's John McCarthy to stop it? And they're rolling down the stairs. There's Howie Long on the ground.
Oh,
look at that. Is that Clarence Davis over there? Oh,
Darren Waller.
Clarence Davis jersey number 20.
Ow.
Oh, there you go, Clarence Davis. Howie Long and Darren Waller are going at him.
Oh, my God.
Cuts. Look at
holy shit. Oh, my God.
That's a good one. Yes.
It's like WWE almost. So they're just,
you know what that
starting to pull this guy.
You know what it looked like? Once again, filming faux pas, not landscaping it. I don't care about what the upper reaches of the stadium look like, but I'll tell you what, it almost looked like in wrestling where you see one guy start and then they all kind of jump in and Pearl Harbor the other guy and give him a beat and leave him bleeding on the side of the road. That's what I would have liked to see.
Man,
that's some good stuff right there. Like, hey, how you doing there? Where is he? Hey, come back here. He's got a
Raider
little handgun too.
Raider fans fighting Raider fans.
Yeah, that's always good.
Everybody walks away. They're all fine.
Everyone's
my
bloody.
goodness.
Everyone's beaten, but they'll live to fight another day. Looks like they're all friends now.
You had to, okay, you know what's bad? When the Bills Mafia has to break up your fights. You know you're bad. things are bad amongst the Raiders community when Bills Mafia has to step in and say, whoa, hold on, guys. We might need to calm down a bit. It's almost like the freaking Eagle fans coming in and saying, guys, this is way too extreme right now. Huh. Good gracious. I'll watch that one more time, Grump. I figure you'd kick out it one more time.
I did enjoy it.
Oof.
Look at this. Who's Mr. Red Shirt throwing?
I was about to say,
down?
Red Shirt runs
Oh,
away.
look at this Red Shirt.
Darren Waller was the best fight. Oh, my God. Hold on.
Anybody
Darren
get
Waller,
my way? I'm throwing punches.
Darren Waller knocks out the Red Shirt. Mr. Red Shirt first.
Oh, man. Look
Darren
at
Waller grabs him from behind here. Watch what he does to Mr. Red Shirt. Boom, boom, boom.
There you go, Ricky Red Shirt. You're done.
And now he hits Mr. Gray Shirt.
Gray
Innocent
Shirt,
bystander,
get out of the way,
Mr. Gray Shirt. Innocent bystander, Mr. Gray Shirt.
He deserves it.
He starts beating the living hell out of him.
I think he
And
was
then-
it looks like he was just going to get some milk or something.
He said, on to the next one. Boom,
Get up. He
boom.
grabs him by his little man bun. He's like,
I'll tell you one thing.
I'm going to pull
Darren-
your arms back.
Darren Waller had punched everybody from behind. He cold-cocked every single person he fought. So he came out 3-0 of his UFC fighting record there. But he did go ahead and start off just by cold-cocking guys.
I think he went by the Jesse the Body Ventura motto is win if you can, lose if you must, but always cheat. And I think that's what he's doing right there.
So I figured you'd get a kick. We haven't done fan fights in a while.
I love fan fights. I love them. I have to say I love them.
Let's talk. I saw this and I thought it was kind of interesting. It's, I guess, more of a philosophical conversation of who would you rather have as a quarterback, Josh Allen or Joe Burrow?
Joe Burrow.
I'm say Joe Burrow. It wasn't really much of a decision for me or a conversation for me. I like Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, I think, has better weapons than Josh Allen does too. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes. Here's what else. He's got a little bit of the people's champion in him too.
What do you mean by that, Grump?
He's a guy who, even if they struggle in game, come closing time, he knows how to close. He knows how to close. Josh Allen is like that too, but Josh Allen will turn the ball over sometimes in the red zone late in games. That'll cost his team. You don't see that from Big Dick Joe. He could be a future people's champion, lowercase.
Oh,
lowercase.
Alexander says
no one is better than the people's champion. And watch
Alexander,
next year when the people's champion goes on a good team, a winning team. You could see another Super Bowl for the people's champion. One more time, people's champion.
Josh McDaniels is not an answer as a head coach.
I didn't say it was going to be with him.
You don't think he's going to the Raiders?
I think there's three possibilities. 1, 2, 3. Raiders with Josh McDaniels. San Francisco, because, wow, they're ready to win. All they need is the people's champion. He goes back home. Number 3, New Orleans Saints and Sean Payton going back to the Saints for another year with the people's champion. I mean, tell me they wouldn't win that division and walk away.
Yeah, I don't disagree. But what's up, Alexander? Drew Reviews Music says, I just wanted to say congratulations to the Jacksonville Jaguars and Doug Peterson on winning the AFC South, because there's no shot this Titans team can win the division. The Jags need to beat New York, though.
Here's the thing. The Jags don't need to beat New York. They could lose this week, even if Tennessee wins. Next week, it's Tennessee against Jacksonville for the title.
I think the Jags are, I think the Jags on the
Here's
way up,
what-
the Titans are far on the way down.
Jags trajectory is up. Titans trajectory is down. This will be five or six straight losses for the Jags. 6.
Drew Reviews Music says, by the way, he says, it's Drew Licata, just here changing my name as I'm making new content. There it is. Alexander says, Grumpy, looks like he's ready to go 12 rounds with Mike Tyson.
Bam. Yeah. Ready to go.
Andrew L says, fashion reminds me of a poor man's Tage Thompson. Got the same body type, sneaky hands, drives to the net, strong on and off the puck.
Yeah, the difference is Tage Thompson's about 4 inches taller and 30 pounds heavier. Tage Thompson's the real deal.
I like fashion.
I do too.
Joseph C says, Tua sucks, concussion or not. Yes. So I guess that's a good
Yeah, let's talk about
segue,
it.
Grump.
Let's
Let's
talk
talk a little bit about Tua. Tua got concussed last game, and third concussion of the year. He had that back injury earlier on this year.
Lie.
And then the game out, he had that back injury, started grabbing his head, and his freaking feet started wobbling underneath him. Then he had the item when he went to fencing where his fingers got all like this.
That's number 2.
That's number 2. And then he had this most recent one. So 3rd concussion of the year. Yikes. Want your take on what you think of Tua and what you think about these concussions, the severity of them too, Grump.
I think I don't think he's concussed this time.
No, come on.
I don't. I thought they gave him an out. Here's the thing. I don't want to even. Here's the thing. I think they're looking for excuses for why he sucked against the Packers. That's what I think.
Here's the thing. I think he had a concussion another time here, and I think I'm really questioning should he play anymore.
I think
or how long he should play. The guy's had 3 concussions this year. The first 2 were severe, and the third one is there too, even if it was a more mild version. 3 concussions in a year and a time period of 16, 17 weeks. Oof. And this is not the first. It's not like these are the only times he's had concussions. He had concussions in college. Who knows how many were undiagnosed too with, how far that, they've come with technology on that side. But, this is a guy who plays. He's a doctor over there who does this. He's like, to a concussion protocol again. This is the hit that happened. They said the doctor gives his opinion. He says 3rd concussion of the season. No doctor in their right mind can clear him this year. Season over. But this is the hit. It doesn't look like a vicious hit when you watch it first. And I mean, these are the ones where his head ricochets off the ground, just happen to be the ones where he gets concussed, it seems like.
Does he not have a neck? Does he not have any neck muscles? It's like a rag doll out there.
There it was right here.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? It's real easy to go let's go look. They didn't report any concussion symptoms during game. It was only after they came back the next day. It's like, all of a sudden I have a concussion now. Stop.
Here's the thing, though. Players can lie about that stuff. And again, very interesting take on it here from Emmanuel Acho, because I think, right, if he had a concussion, I think he knew about it. But here's the thing. I think they bring up a point. You have to care about it enough and your health enough, because if you're continuing just to say, oh, no, I can fight through a cycle, you're not caring and taking your health seriously enough is a big issue. And this is kind of how Emmanuel Acho takes it. I think, again, very insightful point
Where
here.
are you on the Tua situation now that we know that he has had another concussion?
I'm going to say something I haven't yet said publicly, I haven't heard said. It's time to put some onus on Tua. I cannot care about your safety. Joy cannot care. Alex cannot care. Mike McDaniels cannot care. The neuroscientists cannot care. The Dolphins cannot care. The NFLPA cannot care more about Tua's safety than Tua. What we know is this. I watched the entirety of the Miami Dolphins presser this morning. Mike McDaniel went up to the podium, answered every single question, and he answered most of them well. What we know is Mike McDaniel, based on what he saw on tape of Tua, saw Tua as soon as he walked into the building, and he said that he questioned Tua heavily with concern based upon what he saw on tape, asking Tua, do you have a concussion? Joy, you and I talked about this before we knew if Tua had a concussion. 3 interceptions. Uncharacteristic for Tua, but not all interceptions are created equal. I've seen a lot of them over the course of my career. Did not get a lot, but seen.
See, you don't get me here, right? I don't think Tua is a very good quarterback.
They're using a concussion excuse for shitty play. He was terrible the whole freaking game. Before he fell
He was
to the
terrible
ground.
last game too.
Yeah,
I'm not I don't believe this. That's how they were able to sniff it out. It's uncharacteristic for him to throw 3 interceptions. No, you can't just say, oh, he's thrown 3 interceptions. Let's see if he took a bump on the head. But other than that, I agree with most what Emmanuel talks about.
Seen a lot. 2 through 3 interceptions that weren't deflected, with minimal pressure, and were mental errors. So Mike McDaniel sees on tape, wait, Tua, you're acting uncharacteristic, tells Tua to go to the doctors. Tua, you knew that something wasn't right. And even if you couldn't put your finger on it, you know you don't throw 3 interceptions. How do we know Tua knows he don't throw 3 interceptions? Because Emmanuel Acho knows Tua don't throw 3 interceptions. And if I know Tua don't throw 3 interceptions, then he does. Tua, you knew against the Buffalo Bills it was more than your lower back. Jory wasn't sure. Alex wasn't sure. I sure as heck wasn't sure. I had my thoughts because
Do you remember we said, Grumpy?
We knew it was.
Back injury for certain was a
They were
concussion.
lying.
It doesn't take a rocket scientist.
They were
But
lying.
yes, so we all knew. We
I've
all
had a
knew.
concussion before,
Right.
and I've played through it. You don't touch your head after you get hit if your lower back hurts. But who knew was Tua. So Tua, you knew against the Bills, you had a head injury. You knew against the Packers, you had a head injury. We can't care more than you. I get that you want to be a hero, you want to save your team, but first and foremost, you have to save yourself.
I thought it was very well said. People can't care more. And like I think at this point it's almost reckless on him to continue to push through when he has items like that occur. 3 concussions in the last, I talk about 17 months, but it's even more recent than that. I mean, that concussion he had earlier on in the year, what was that? Week 5, week 6?
I don't
3
care.
concussions in 10 weeks? A concussion a month?
Okay. Does anyone really care? Does the NFL care?
I don't think the NFL cares at all about
Do the
concussions.
Dolphins care?
Enough to has him being a conduit to play. So how can they make sure that he can play at the optimal level? That's as much as they care.
They don't care if he's concussed either. None of them do. Why? Because it's a big money-making machine. These guys they're not even cogs. They're just the gasoline that keeps the machine moving. The NFL doesn't care about player safety. We've talked about it before. The teams don't care about player safety. The players barely care about player safety for themselves. They know they want to get paid. They got to stay on the field. It's just simple. It's simple economics. It's what the whole thing's about. It's all about the money. Who cares? The media, the people who know nothing about football. Look, that's so horrifying. Oh, they shouldn't let him do it. You know what? It should be a personal choice for every player. Guys have been getting concussed for years and years and years. Do you remember what I told you? And I've said it on the show. You want to stop most of the concussions? What do?
Take the helmet away.
Take the helmets off the players. They won't hit people with their heads anymore. You'd see concussions dropping through just right down the toilet because guys are not going to run their heads at other people with they don't have helmets on. They use them as battering rams all the time. Derwin James. They do it all the time. It's what they do.
And here's the thing. It's not like it's going to completely take concussions out of the game. It's a contact sport. You still have concussions in rugby, but for the amount of hitting and contact that rugby has a fraction of the amount of concussions that NFL games have.
I have a question for you. But what did we know about Tua coming out of college? What was the one thing on draft night?
Injury prone.
Always hurt. Not just, it's every type of injury imaginable he has. Every single one. That's why I didn't like him as a quarterback. Always hurt.
He had the ankles. He had concussions. He had the shoulder. He was hurt all over the place at Alabama.
Night, always hurt. I have a question for you. Does Miami sign him to a second contract?
No,
they
shouldn't.
I wouldn't. Nope. Does Miami look at the people's champion? Do they get rid of Mike McDaniel after 1 year when they start 8-3 and finish up 8-9? Do you let him go?
It's a good question.
And try to take a run at Sean Payton and Tom Brady like they did last year?
That's a good question now.
Because that defense is pretty good.
The offense is stacked. The offensive line is good too.
Yep. And if you bring in the people's champion with a good head coach in Sean Payton, they got to be one of the favorites to go far in the AFC next year. I just think there's going to be, again, we're seeing historic movement at the quarterback position the last couple of years. Yep. And money doesn't seem to be an object. That's why I laugh at the salary cap. They're like, oh my gosh, they're so close to the cap. It means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. They can circumvent the cap any way they want in the NFL. So, I mean, it's not an issue. Let's see what happens at the end of this year. I am so excited for the end of the year. I just think there's going to be a lot of movement. I just think there is.
Yeah, when you talk about that, that's a good point. How nuts would it be if Mike McDaniel gets fired after 1 year?
I'm not saying it will happen, but
that's not a bad idea. Seriously, it's not a bad I think Sean Payton, no offense to Mike McDaniel, I think he's working. He's kind of hamstrung. He doesn't have a quarterback.
Yep.
You're right. Tua without a concussion, with a concussion, just not a good quarterback. And Sean Payton is a Hall of Fame caliber NFL coach. Wouldn't you say? I'd say he's a Hall of Fame caliber coach. If you could say I can bring in a Hall of Fame caliber coach and a guy like Tom Brady, who
the greatest of all time,
we know still has it left in a tank. We've got Jarrett, we've got Waddle, we've got Tyreek Hill, we've got two unbelievable receivers that do everything with their. Think about this. Think about how many of these yards Tua's had this season with Yak. All just yards after the catch. Hits a guy with a little quick pass, and his wide receivers do all the work. Tom Brady is the king of quick routes, hitting in spots, and making sure you can hit your wide receivers. Even at the age of, he could be doing it at the age of 50 years old. That's how proficient he is with those short game passing. And you've got two of the best short game receivers in the game. I think it's a match made in heaven. If you bring a guy like Sean Payton in, that's immediately it steps. That defense takes the next step forward too.
Yes. And Brady's arm is way better than Noodles' arm.
Yes, absolutely.
I just think there's so many opportunities.
So now 4 teams is a possibility for Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Or how about 5 teams? Maybe he goes back to Tampa.
No, that's absolutely not happening. He's you can just tell he's checked out there. They wouldn't take Gronk back. Gronk called up supposedly and wanted to play, and they're like, no, we don't need you. Gronk said, I'm bored. And he calls.
Is that really what he said?
Yeah, in a tweet, I'm bored. Called Tampa Bay. No, we're not interested. Okay. Great. Yeah. What do you think Brady thinks about that? When he's got guys dropping, guys dropping every other pass on him. And has Brady been great this year? No, he's not been great. But here's the thing. What's the reason? No protection. Absolutely none. The whole interior.
No running game.
No running game. That's because the offensive line blows.
Yeah.
You got one guy who's a legitimate starter in this league, which is Tristan Wirfs. Everybody else on that line right now, Shaq Mason is done. Robert Hainsey finished. Ryan Jensen could be back as soon as this week to solidify the center situation. They had the rookie, Luke Gedicke, at left guard. He's been busted out of there. He's been so bad. Then they bring in Nick Levert, who's a streety. He's hurt. He's gone. And Donovan Smith on the other side, who's just a nightmare as a left tackle. I mean, they're down to the third string left tackle. I mean, it's like, what does he have to work with? He's getting rid of the ball. The wide receivers are old and slow, no separation. But if he gets a little bit of time, man, he can still sling that ball.
Yeah. Yeah. Moving along, though. A big takeaway.
I'm excited for the People's Champion. Where's he going next?
Big takeaway. Tua, I don't think he's playing football by the time he's 30 years old. I would be shocked if he has any sort of longevity with his career. As I'm sure is a shock to no one, a guy with a glass jaw, a guy who gets injured every time you breathe on him just can't last and hold up in the NFL. That simple. So he won't be playing long-term. 3rd concussion of the season. 2nd one that was accurately diagnosed, but again, wasn't diagnosed on the field or anything like that. Those magic concussion protocol people that help you supposed to spot that out didn't do a great job there either. Gungun says, though, the Jets predictions for end of season. I'll go with a win versus the Seahawks, and the Patriots lose one of the games. The Jets deliver the inevitable shot to the testicles versus the Dolphins.
If the Patriots, here's the thing, it's exciting. There's only one playoff spot left in the AFC.
Yeah.
And if the Patriots win out, they get it. If they beat the Dolphins this week and they beat the Bills next week.
Here's the one thing. You might be in a spot to where they're going to be playing backups there at that point.
The way that happens is if Buffalo beats Cincinnati this week, not on Monday night, and Kansas City loses, Buffalo's automatic number 1 seed. That's the only way they're going to do it. I mean, you think that they're fighting for number 1 seed, they're not going to bench their starters.
Kansas City plays the Broncos, the miserable Broncos, and the Raiders.
With Jarrett Stidham as quarterback. The Raiders always play Kansas City tough, but they're not winning that game. I just think I don't think Kansas City's best team in the AFC this year. I think that's Cincinnati. I don't think I don't think Kansas City wants to play Cincinnati. I think Buffalo has to win out these next 2 games and then get Cincinnati again in the championship for the AFC Championship. And I think Cincinnati goes. I'm bullish on Cincinnati right now. They have a certain it factor. They got the lowercase people's champion and Big Dick Joe, Big Cock Joe, whatever the hell they call him. I don't know what they call him, but
Big
let's
Dick
just
Joe.
say, yeah, there you go. It's very
So
flattering.
this is not. I don't think this is all the way updated, or maybe it is. Maybe this is updated here.
Yes, it is. It's fully updated.
Okay. Fantastic.
Miami needs 1 win. This week or next week, they're in. Can they beat the Patriots with Teddy Bridgewater? Can they beat the Jets the last week of the year with Teddy Bridgewater if Tua can't come back? Tennessee's done and dusted. I'm giving Jacksonville a title. Watch out for Pittsburgh. Watch out for Pittsburgh.
Watch out for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Grump.
Watch out for Pittsburgh. What a great coaching
They
job.
play the Ravens. They play the Ravens, and last week of the season they play the Browns. That Steelers team could very easily be 9-8.
Now, here's the thing. The Ravens have something to play for. They have Pittsburgh this week, Cincinnati next week. They win both of those games. They win division. Doesn't matter what Cincinnati, because Cincinnati would lose, and it doesn't even matter. They'd win division because of head-to-head. They'd win division. Baltimore has something to play for. Chargers made the playoffs last week. I mean, I guess it's not updated for the Chargers. They're 9
Chargers. Yeah,
they're
Chargers game.
Raiders, done. Tennessee, done. Jets win their last 2 games. They're in the playoffs. It's just that plain and simple. You have to win. And New England has to lose a game. They're going to lose to Buffalo. I mean, I think Buffalo's only punted, 3 times in the last 4 games they played them. So, for me, Buffalo's just head and shoulders. New England they're terrible offensively. You would think the Dolphins should make the playoffs, wouldn't you?
I'd think so. But
1 win. They just need 1 win to be in. That's it. That's it. They win this week, they're in. It's all over. I just want to give kudos to Mike Tomlin. Great coaching job this year with Pittsburgh.
He's a really underrated coach.
Yep.
Think about what he did even last year with Ben Roethlisberger, who was, and I mean, cashed. So, I've always liked what he's done. I think he's a really, really solid coach. Pittsburgh just finds a way. Pittsburgh, the coaches they find, they latch onto him. They find the right one. They latch onto him, and they're there for like an eternity.
3 coaches in 53 years.
Doesn't happen.
Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, Mike Tomlin. That's it.
Yep.
That's it. They're loyal to a fault, but I tell you what, they've been good.
Yeah.
They're always in the hunt. Last year was a down year. They still made the playoffs right at the end, if you remember, with Roethlisberger winning that last game of the regular season. They were doing the farewell tour all the time, and they wound up going to the playoffs. But great job by Mike Tomlin. And you're right, I think underrated. Now, when the People's Champion was playing for New England, they stopped Pittsburgh every single time. Pittsburgh could never beat them. They just knew how to beat them. But, Pittsburgh would have won how many more Super Bowls if Tom Brady wasn't in New England?
Talent-wise, think about those Pittsburgh teams that Tomlin had during their peak. Antonio Brown, talent-wise, is a Hall of Fame receiver.
Yep.
Talent-wise, in his peak, Le'Veon Bell was a Hall of Fame caliber running back. Talent-wise, Ben Roethlisberger, Hall of Fame, he will be a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Yep.
Talent-wise, you got guys like James Harrison, unbelievable defensive. You had Troy Polamalu at times. Talent-wise, those teams were stacked with talent.
They know what they're doing.
Years ago, I maybe didn't give him as much credit, but watching what he's done with these last 2 years with limited talent and still producing quality teams has really impressed me.
How many more titles would Pittsburgh have won if Tom Brady, because it's not Bill Belichick, it was Tom Brady, had not been in the league playing for New England?
2 more, at least 2 more.
Look at Belichick's record without Brady.
Losing record, I know.
Losing record. Look at the last 3 years. 7-9, 10-7. This year, they could be 7-10.
They're 7-8 right now.
Yeah, here's the thing. They're going to lose to Buffalo. That will happen. Here's the thing. If they make the playoffs, because the only way is if Josh Allen does not play in the last game.
Yes.
They would have only beaten one team with the starting quarterback all year, which would be Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions. every time that they've played, somebody has been the backup quarterback. Every time.
They've been very fortunate.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why their defense maybe has played as well as they have this year.
Yep.
So it helps when you're playing backup quarterbacks left and right.
Yep.
I don't know. I think that answers your question, Goon. The Jets can make it. What they will do, something completely different. Drew reviews. Drew Licata. I'm just going to say Drew Licata says, TJ, you need to make more tweets about your own opinions so I can quote them. Oh, yeah. I guess I got to. I usually retweet other people. Alexander says, do you guys think that the Mets will get the deal done with Carlos Correa? That's right. Before we left, the news broke that Carlos Correa, there might be some issues with his knee.
Bye-bye. No. Hopefully they learn something. Nope, not doing it. Let him go. I just think he's overrated. He's not worth the money they're offering him. I mean, when one team says he's not passing a physical, how do you just sign him immediately?
Yeah. And so this is what we're talking about here. Yep, the Mets have concerns with Carlos Correa. And now people are calling up the Carlos Correa camp, and they said, oh, this is just the Mets playing a game, is what they said, similar to that nature. I don't – what do you think they're going to try to do? Renegotiate a contract they've signed you to pay you less money? Is that the game? What type of game do you think they're playing? They're not doing that shit for shits and giggles, Scrump.
I don't understand what the rush to sign. I don't think he has any market. What he was offered is ridiculous. I just don't think he's that good. I just think he's another guy who's always hurt all the time. And you want to give him a, 10-year deal, 12-year deal? Ridiculous. They don't even need him. He's not needed. What about the Batty kid? He plays third base. Why not put a young guy who's affordable for a few years? How much time is he going to miss? I don't like what the Mets have done this offseason. As much as I loved what they did last offseason, I've just been unimpressed with this offseason.
Remember, everybody was so like, oh, man, they did such a great job after that signing, right? We're all in. Cohen, he's a machine. This change, it makes us look like the joke of the Mets that we've been for years and years. What is not the quintessential Mets mistake? The Mets mess, the Mets mistake, shit like this. He signed the contract. He didn't. That's why he didn't sign with the San Francisco Giants. Because it was just beforehand. I don't know if you meant. I know you said another team had jumped, but there was the San Francisco Giants. They were going to offer him a contract. They said they looked at the physical and said, "No, we're not doing that." The Mets offer him the contract, and then, well, maybe we have concerns. We've got concerns. Yikes! If the Mets don't get Correa, I go back to saying miserable offseason. Miserable offseason.
If they do get him or don't get him.
If they don't. If his knee is ruled to have issues and they don't sign him, miserable offseason, right? The only way the offseason comes out well is if the knee issues are resolved or they were able to say, oh, maybe we looked at him, they were a little fuzzy. I don't know. No matter what, it's still really tough to salvage the offseason. Even if they sign him, I still am worried that they had concerns because those concerns just don't go away just because he signed for the team.
Now, here's what, if I'm another team trying to sign Carlos Correa, if people think he's a really, really excellent, and he's a good player. I'm not saying he's not a good player. He's not generational or anything like that.
No.
Look at the two teams that he's been with previously, Houston and Minnesota. They didn't even give him a sniff at free agency. He was in Houston after last year, and they just let him walk. And Minnesota, 1 year, they probably went like this. Whew. He opted out. Whew. Thank goodness. And they didn't even try to bring him back. Like I said, I just think he's always hurt. He's always something wrong with him.
Yep, that is scary. That's scary for certain. Joseph C. said Derek Carr is probably a Jet next year. I was about to say I could maybe see the Jets. Like that's a team. Maybe I was thinking maybe the Giants. If the Giants don't get Lamar, I could see guys like that.
I am so excited about quarterback movement. I am super excited about it. Zach Wilson is going to go somewhere else. That's a guy you take a flyer on, without a doubt. You have 2 more years and maybe 3 if you pick up the 5th-year option on a guy who's going to get let go. I mean, do you think he has any trade value?
Not much.
Okay. So
3rd-round pick.
Oh, I don't think he'll get a 3rd-round pick for him.
That's best case scenario.
The Jets are where good quarterbacks go to die. Sorry. Mike
Yeah.
White's not your answer.
Correct.
Lamar Jackson will be leaving. There's no way he's going back to Baltimore. No way.
Mhm.
And then it's like, okay, Jimmy Garoppolo's out there. The people's champion is out there. Tom Brady, for the people who are new to this show, is the people's champion. There's going to be, and Derek Carr's out there. Matty
I'm
Ice.
sure there's going to be more too, but Andrew L says here, does Tua not have neck muscles to control his head from slinging and hitting the back of his head, and then because he causes a concussion. Every concussion he has, sling of the neck like that.
To me, it doesn't matter. It's not even the concussion thing. That's relatively new. It's all the other injuries he's had: foot injury, ankle injury, shoulder injury. Sternum injury. He's always hurt. Guy's always hurt. It's been like that since
I forgot about the sternum injury. But yeah, he's had a plethora of
always
injuries.
Hurt.
Yeah.
He's going nowhere. Sorry.
Googan says, Grumpy, what are some prerequisites for somebody to become your friend?
I don't have any prerequisites. None at all.
Okay. So no applications they've got to fill out. Okay.
Hot girls haven't it.
Joseph C says here, I feel bad for Derek Carr. The dude had 6 coaches in the last 6 years and hardly any good defenses with the Raiders. Yeah, I was about to say the defense over that 9-year span has been like 32nd overall for points allowed per game.
Yeah.
They allowed more points than any other team in the NFL over that 9-year span that he's been there with the Raiders. And you think to yourself, I'm like, oh, yeah, tough to win when that's the case. I think he's a guy who chokes a lot and loses a lot, but think about how many times he's been put in the situation to choke and lose because his defense sucks.
Agreed. 100% agreed.
Drew Licata says here, all I know is Tua haters can't use the argument that Herbert didn't make the playoffs because he just clinched. Maybe that last game is why Alex hopped off the Tua train.
Justin Herbert's infinitely better than Tua.
Yeah.
Infinitely better.
Yep.
Like I said, if you're Tua,
wrong pick.
And we all knew that draft night. We talked about it.
We knew it before draft night. We knew it leading up to the draft. And during draft night, we talked about it ad nauseum, like bad decision.
And I guess this kind of validates Brian Flores, right?
That was the first show we ever did, by the way.
That's right. But
that was the first podcast we ever did on this channel.
But Brian Flores didn't think that Tua was much of a quarterback. Doesn't this kind of validate him?
Yeah, I think
I like Brian Flores. I think he made a colossal blunder with what he did last offseason. I think it'll cost him ever getting a shot at the head coaching job again. I thought it was dumb on his part, short-sighted, to be honest with you. But he was right about Tua. We were all – here's the thing. The smart people, the marks like us, the smart marks, we knew Tua sucked. Justin Herbert was so much better. So much better.
Alexander says, Jack Del Rio got the best out of Derek Carr. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like Carr, but he's not a franchise quarterback. He's a guy that, can drive your team down the field, but won't get you into the end zone. Yeah, a lot of those drives stall out. By the way, I'm going to go to the Notre Dame USC game in Jacksonville tomorrow.
Oh, very nice.
Hey, Drew, make sure you're wearing your Notre Dame gear. Make sure when Lincoln Riley comes over there to boo him, boo, and spit at him if you can.
We're going to see.
All kidding aside, Drew says here, it's crazy how skinhead Josh Dobbs look like Trevor Lawrence compared to Malik Willis.
Who's Josh Dobbs?
Oh, he's
Is he like the third string quarterback for Tennessee with Tannehill out?
He's the he used to play for the Steelers. Give me a sec here. Yeah, he's a third string quarterback for Tennessee.
So he must be in. Malik Willis is not the answer, right?
My God. Yeah. Yikes already. Hey, Malik, you're going back to the bench, buddy.
He's a runner. Went to Liberty. I don't know. Where was he with? What school was he with initially? And he transferred out of.
I can't remember, but he went to Liberty. It was Auburn.
Maybe I don't know.
McManaman, where are you?
For me, it's like, okay, how good is he really? I mean, guys who go to small schools like that, they need to be tearing it up.
Auburn. He was at Auburn and transferred to Liberty.
And what are these? They're all the same. Trey Lance, him, even Carson Wentz. But Carson Wentz was a better quarterback.
Yeah.
These guys are athletes. It's different. And playing, Division 1 AA, whatever they call it.
Yes,
You know
that's correct. You finally got it correct.
Okay. Division One AA is not playing Division One football, college football, and they're just superior athletes. And yeah, Willis has all the tools. He's got a cannon for an arm, but you know what? It takes more than that. You have to know the nuances of an offense. He's just not there yet. Will he ever get there? I have no idea. That's why he lasts until the third round, though.
So the guy who was supposed to be a first-round pick slipped all the way to the third round. Is exactly right.
Maybe they learned after watching Trey Lance implode for 2 straight years. Think about how bad Trey Lance was. Jimmy Garoppolo's star.
Yikes. Well, Trey Lance hurt his foot. But
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He's not good enough.
Anyway.
I'm not saying he will never be good enough. He's not good enough right now.
Joseph C. said, I saw something that said they benched Derek Carr because he would be guaranteed $33 million next year if he was injured.
Well, see, then that's maybe something else that we were not aware of, right?
Gotcha. I have to look that up. Andrew L. says here, is Son X going to be joining the show, or the Islanders Never Say Die podcast, or perhaps both to make TJ as miserable as ever?
Yeah, Son X will be. He has to get. There's something he needs before he can start on a show, and yeah, he will make it miserable for TJ. He's sharp as a tack, and he's mean, a little mean.
Gungun says here, Grumpy, sorry to hear that last night that 2022 wasn't particularly good for you. Hopefully 2023 is as powerful as Clark Gillies going to hook or throwing a right hook at Dave Schultz's jaw.
That's what we hope. That's hoping, right?
John McManaman says, Happy New Year's, guys. Happy New Year, John and Ian. He says, working and family lately have been watching After Hours. Grump, I see Santa thought you were a good boy. He gave you a new Auburn jersey to cheer on. Basketball and football tomorrow.
Absolutely. Thank you, John.
And Joseph C. said,
say hi to Ian for us, please.
Absolutely.
Happy New Year to Ian.
And these Raider fans are still taking less of a beating than what Andrew Tate is about to take in a Romanian prison. Yeah, I don't know if he's actually going to prison. I saw that. Remember that guy we talked about once? He got deplatformed. I don't know. They said he went to jail, but I'm like, they didn't put handcuffs on him. I was like, what? Man, if you're taking somebody to jail.
What did he do? I don't know.
He set up like a sex traffic ring is what he's being accused of doing. So I'm like, that's nothing to joke around about. So we'll see how it all transpires. Anyway, he's talked about, he's like, the Matrix is going to get him. I don't know. I think he's like a character almost. So I don't know. We'll see.
He sounds like a dope to me.
Good. We've been down this road. You said he's not, but maybe he is. Who knows? We don't know a lot about. I don't watch enough of him.
If there was no social media, you'd never hear about this guy.
Okay, if there's no social media, you never hear about a lot of guys.
Yeah. What does it tell you? What does it tell you? It should tell you something.
If there was no social media, Grumpy, you'd be waking up in the morning saying, oh, wow, this Tom Brady guy threw for 300 yards last night, because you still be reading everything in the damn newspaper. Anyway, Good says,
I know how to read anyway. You should try it.
Should I feel guilty that I'm once again watching the Islanders game with the sound off and letting you both provide various sounds and commentary? No, this is good. I'm telling you, I don't watch any of the Islanders commentary. I watched it a little bit for the first period today, and I was like, yikes. Butch Goring was trying to say, well, it's a hard hit on Brock Nelson. Well, right here, actually, he left his feet, which is a penalty. You can't do that in the NHL. I'm like, Jesus Christ. If you were calling every single time an NHL player laid a hit and left his feet, the Islanders would be in the box, I don't know, about 100 times a game. I'm like, come on, stop, please.
Islanders get away with a lot of interference and holding and sticks and clutching and grabbing. They get away with a lot of that.
Butchie, anytime something bad happens to us, so it's like, well, hold on, the official made a bad call there. John McMahon said, Grumpy, you were correct. Tua sucks. What options do the Finns have for quarterback free agents next year? Tom Brady. I think that was interesting. Tom Brady.
It's going to have to be with another coach.
Drew also said,
think about it. How would you like to be? Oh, man, you think Bill Belichick's got it bad now? Can you imagine if he has to play Brady twice a year? Miami always beats New England. Even when Brady was there, it was like 50-50. They'd go down. Whenever they went to Florida, it was always steaming hot, and they'd wind up losing that game. I mean, I think Brady had more wins and losses, but it was close. It was the one team in their division that they were pretty close against record-wise. So, I mean, and now Tua's never lost to New England. Never.
Yeah. Anyway, Drew says here, by the way, off topic, Andrew Tate got arrested earlier. Yeah, I heard that. I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. Just kind of like I absorb all the information. We'll see how that goes. Top G, as he calls himself. Goon says, I watched The Shining again last night.
Good movie.
Has it ever been determined what the chap dressed as a bear or bunny at the end was all about?
I think they were just people who, at one time or another, lived in the hotel, stayed in the hotel. I don't know, though. You know, it's been a long time since I've seen The Shining, but really another Stanley Kubrick classic. You know, for a horror film, there was only one murder in that whole movie, just one.
Drew says, I wonder how the newly red-pilled Alexander's doing today now that he's given up on Tua. And John McManaman says, this Rangers-Tampa game is a good game, but not as good as the Islanders scoring on the power play. The Islanders have leapfrogged the Rangers in the standings. Woo! We are tied in points now, but we have less overtime points to them, or whatever that is, loser points. So or regular, we've got more regulation wins than they do, maybe is what it is. So yes, we are tied in points, same amount of games played, 44 points, and we're actually tied with the Penguins on points, but they have 2 games in hand on us. Yeah. So yeah, you know, we'll see how things go. A lot of ups and downs, but the Rangers did lose in shootout. James F says, rest in peace, Pele. All soccer leagues should retire his number.
No, they should not retire his number. Great player. Saw him play live. 34 years old, 35 years old, but still magical. Saw him scoring a bicycle kick against the Los Angeles Aztecs in Yankee Stadium.
He was the first to do a lot of everything.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, what makes, like, when you talk about, like, what makes the great ones, it was like the same thing with, like, what makes Babe Ruth, what makes, you know, these stars, you know, what they are. They're the first to do everything.
Yeah.
And Pele was the first to do everything regarding skill moves, soccer-wise, regarding being a dominant player, the first to do everything.
What people don't realize, when he played, the game was a lot more physical than it is now. A lot more physical than it is now.
Oh, yeah. So hold on, I'll show it to you.
A legend, a true legend. It's hard to, particularly younger people. Soccer was a big deal when he came here in the mid-'70s to the New York Cosmos. Just a big deal. He put soccer on the map. The Giant Stadium would have 80,000 people in it every Sunday when they were in town. I mean, you had the Tampa Bay, I think they were the Bandits at the time. I forget what they were called. But it was like a big deal. All the other big stars wound up coming over to the United States because the money was better, of course. You're seeing some great players there. And you know what? People don't realize soccer was nothing until he got here. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah. And, you know, you look at him, he was the first to do, you look at a lot of these skill moves that players are known for. Oh, they do such a great job. He was the first to do all of these moves. And again, you know, people making a living off of that now. You know, he's proficient at doing it then. But I mean, man, oh man, fantastic. Pele,
Yes.
Truly a legend.
Yes.
Truly, I mean, you're seeing in the likes of, Zinedine Zidane, you're seeing guys like Cristiano, guys like Messi, all over the place.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, here we get a little bicycle kick there from Pele. Boom.
That's the one I saw. I saw that live. That one there I saw live.
We'll go back and let's watch it again, Grumpy.
I remember where I was sitting. I was on the other side because, yes, sir. I remember that goal. Absolutely remember it.
Oof.
I was on the other side, the far side of the stadium from where the picture was taken, or the video.
Oof.
Just tremendous. Yep. What he could do with his feet, tremendous.
Unbelievable quickness, unbelievable handle on the ball as well. I mean, like, there's Georgie Best, Ronaldinho. I mean, like, you look at it, it's just something special.
Yes, absolutely.
Maradona. Yeah. So, and, you know, we knew he was sick. He was in, you know, hospice or almost like palliative care towards the tail end. I know, like, the cancer was just not treating him well, but so, you know, a shame, absolutely is, but truly a special player. The one that, you know, hope doesn't lose the vigor, you know, of what he did and what he accomplished for the sport.
Yes, true.
Look at the rain on that freaking field.
It's not. It was not the way it used to be played in the old days. Not like today. The fields are manicured to perfection nowadays. That was not the case in the old days.
Mm-mm.
It absolutely was not, and it was rough. It was rough.
I'm trying to see if I can get because they got it's slow on the computer. I'm trying to see. I know that they had some of like the plays. Man, oh man, physical game. You know, it's kind of like what the EPL is. I mean, like the EPL is nowhere near as physical now as it was then. But I mean, like you're looking at the last really physical league is the EPL. But I mean, man, oh man, you look at the physicality of that game. It is nuts.
Yep.
Oh man. So yep, the passing of a legend, Grump. Make sure we obviously had a chance to cover that. Wanted to talk a little bit, getting back to comments. Let me, my computer's running a little slow. But Joseph C says here, I hope Mike McCarthy wins just enough playoff games this year so the Cowboys keep him and they don't hire Sean Payton.
Does New Orleans want to let Sean Payton go? Right? That's the question. Are they going to get compensation for him? I don't know. Did they pay him this year?
Hell
I mean,
knows.
I don't know, but I don't, he sat out a year. If they didn't pay him, he shouldn't be part of the team. It's not, I don't think they could just say, well, nope, sorry. If you want to coach, you have to coach for us. I don't think that's the case.
Got another comment here, Grumpy. I'll let you read that here.
You should check out the Pajot goal. A nice play by Fashing. Once again, Hunter Fashing, or his name isn't Hunter.
Hudson Fashing.
You called him Hunter. So,
blame me. Why don't you blame me again, Grumpy? Yeah.
Well, I know you called him Hunter. Okay.
Speaking of Pele, Grumpy, did you stand up in the theater and cheer when he scored that acrobatic goal in the 1981 blockbuster film Victory?
He scored a bicycle kick goal in that movie Victory. I did not stand up in the theater. Sylvester Stallone was in it. I think they had other other soccer players in there. It was like a World War II movie. Enjoyable. I will say that, enjoyable. Great movie? No, but it was certainly enjoyable.
Drew says here, anyways, TJ Grump, nice to see you guys after a week and a half long break finally ended. It was a week and a half. I thought it was just about a week.
This show's been a week and a half.
On the TJ and the Grumpy Old Man show, maybe. Yeah. James F said, end of an era. Derek Carr probably won't be back with the Raiders. He's not playing Sunday. Brady's coming, is what he says.
I don't know if Brady's going there or not.
By the way, that analyst who was talking about Tua that you displayed is an absolute clown. This is the same guy that said Herbert is a social media. Here's the thing. Emmanuel Acho is who you're talking about. I think some things he says are spot on. I think some other things he says are just completely lost. But I did like those points he brought up. I was on Emmanuel Acho a little bend today.
That's his job, right? That's his job. He's there to have strong opinions.
Yep. You can't get a job as an analyst or somebody if you got milquetoast opinions. That's for certain.
Nope. Look at this show.
Drew says he's like Phil's Facts. If he was an NFL analyst and had a giant platform, holy shit. Speaking of the Chargers, yes, Staley is a bad defensive coach, but we need to point the finger at Joe Lombardi, the offensive coordinator. His play calling absolutely sucks.
Brad Stanley sucks, period. He's a shitty coach. I mean, is Joe Lombardi the OC for the Chargers? I don't know. But I think Brandon Staley's a terrible head coach. He'll keep that job. We'll go to the next comment. Now, James F. says, it says, "we." I think there's an R in there, but I'm going to take that R out and go to TJ's favorite movie of all time, Sound of Music, where he saw Liesl go, "wee." And that's TJ's favorite movie, and it was his first girlfriend. It was Liesl from The Sound of Music, as everyone knows. Drew's Reviews Music says, lesson learned for the Dolphins and the Patriots. Do not draft quarterbacks that go to the University of Alabama. None of them turn out to be franchise quarterbacks. Not true. There have been, now recently, yes, you could say that, but Joe Namath went there. Kenny Stabler went there, just to name two. They're both Hall of Famers, so I can't say that as a be-all, end-all. Joseph C. says, I know it won't happen, but imagine if the Dolphins fired McDaniel, traded Tua, and brought in Brady and hired Sean Payton. Yes, we talked about that earlier. Drew L. says, TJ and Grumpy, remember that if Brady continues to suck after this year, don't say I didn't warn you. Okay, you didn't warn us, but I'm going to tell you what, when he comes back next year with a good offensive line and a good quarterback and coach, I'm going to remind you as well.
He said, yeah, he's warning us now, is what he's saying. Gungun says, who's better, head coach, Todd Bowles or Robert Saleh? Thanks, Saleh, right?
Saleh. But
Yeah.
Todd Bowles sucks. Sucks.
And come
He's a
on,
one-trick
we're
pony.
stink guys. Even the Steelers fans I work with say they stink.
And what does that tell you about the job that Mike Tomlin's done? That's all we're saying.
He's done a fantastic job. That's for certain. And Drew says, looks like the Mets curse might live on. Carlos Correa might have failed his physical.
That's the best thing that could happen to the Mets is he fails his physical.
Oh, shit. You know what he didn't talk about yet, but we need to talk about college football playoffs, Grumpy. Let's talk about that here quickly. Now, who are you putting here? Let's talk about number 1 against number 4. Ohio State against Georgia, Grumpy.
Georgia.
How close of a game is it going to be?
10 points.
Oh, wow. You think it's going to be relatively close then?
Yeah. I think Ohio State's better than people think, but Georgia's best team in the country. They pay better.
They pay better. They all pay a good bit. I'm not sure.
Okay. That's fine. That's fine on an opinion show, not to have an opinion. That's why you're not an analyst on this show.
The one thing that I my brain tells me Georgia over and over and over again. They're the better team. I don't think Stetson Bennett is a fantastic quarterback.
He's not.
No, he's there. I think the supporting cast and crew they've got and the defense they have is fantastic. One of the best defenses in the league, just like it was last year. I think Ohio State has struggled against some teams that really they should have cleaned up against. But I think if Ohio State plays football the way they should, I think they're a tough team to compete with. I'm not sure if it's one of those games where Georgia really hasn't faced a lot of adversity this year. Is it one of those to where Georgia faces the first bit of adversity and maybe they struggle through it? I really don't think Georgia's faced much adversity this year. Do you?
I think they've been so much better than everybody else. There've been some games where they had to come back and play extremely well. So I'm going to say no to that. Did they play Clemson this year? Or was that last year?
That was last year. And
Okay.
the Duke's Mayo, whatever the heck it was, or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like you look at like Georgia. I mean, like okay, they beat Kentucky by 10. They beat the hell. I mean, they beat. I don't think Tennessee. I don't think much of Tennessee. I've said that all the time. They beat Tennessee by 14.
Tennessee was on a freaking roll when they came to play Georgia. They were on an absolute roll.
And Malik Hooker tore his ACL that game. So just turn that information as you will. Yes, he did. Anyway,
no,
I mean, you look at.
No, I don't think it was that game. It might have been late in that game. It was the game was already over when he got hurt. I remember watching that game. But that said, they stopped Tennessee. Tennessee was unstoppable up till then offensively. They stopped them. Georgia's good. Ohio State, for me, I said earlier in the year they'd be in the Final Four. That's where they are. And am I surprised that they're number 4? No, because the NCAA did not want to have a rematch against Michigan until maybe a final game. But certainly the way it should have been with Michigan, Ohio State rematch, Georgia, TCU. That's what it should have been.
Yeah. You know what? Just to go against you, I'm picking Ohio State.
Okay, that's fine.
My brain's telling me Georgia. I'm just thinking bad quarterback Clay gets exposed. TCU, Michigan. I've got Michigan running away with this game. I don't think much of TCU.
28 points. That game will be blowout.
Significant margin. Significant. Yeah. And here's the thing. When I say significant margin, I'm talking about significant for a college football playoff. Usually those games are tight because you have multiple weeks to game plan and prep for it. I still think TCU loses by at least 17 points, even if they make a little bit of a comeback towards the tail end. I think Michigan walks away with this one. And you're looking at you know what? Wouldn't it be nice to have Michigan against Ohio State in the finals? Come on. That would be nice, wouldn't it, Grump?
It would be fun to watch. I'll tell you what, talk about ultimate bragging rights.
Yeah,
If Duke played North Carolina in college basketball in the final game,
same
ultimate
thing.
bragging rights.
Same thing. That's what I was about to say. Same thing. So I'm kind of rooting for that, I guess, just so they have that matchup. That would be a nice matchup to have. Who do you think wins it all? Let me ask you that. Who do you think gets the
Georgia.
best?
I just think Georgia is the best team in the country. Now, anything can happen, of course. I think Michigan will be a tougher game. Michigan's battle tested. They are battle tested, and they seem to have a little bit more diversity on offense. But I just think Georgia's just really, and I don't like the Bennett Stetson kid either. But for a college quarterback, he's more than serviceable. They're good.
I was about to say he's in like his 19th year in college there, Grump. So, he's been there for quite some time. But, all kidding aside, even though I picked Georgia to lose the first round, I think Georgia's probably going to win the national championship. They're going to win the college football playoffs. But fantastic team. I think the quarterback is Bennett, when tested, is iffy at best. But hey, you don't need fantastic quarterback play if you've got a fantastic team around you. How many of those Alabama teams won national championships with miserable quarterbacks at the helm? Joseph C says here, Paul Heyman is saying Correa and Scott Boras only engaging with the Mets, and they're likely to get the deal done.
That has to be John Heyman, not Paul Heyman, the wrestling manager. Has to be John Heyman.
WWE. Drew also said, do you guys think that Cliff Kingsbury survives after the season's over?
He should not. He should not.
Here's the other thing. Neither should Kyler Murray.
All right, no. Forget Kyler Murray. He's going nowhere. And here's the thing. Kingsbury has a contract through 2027, as does the GM. Does the Bidwells want to eat that money and get rid of those two guys? I mean, to me, coach Cliff Kingsbury, Brandon Staley, Mike McDaniel, just name all of them. Guys who are, okay, hey, I'm an offensive coordinator on a team that puts up a zillion points. They become head coaches without any real head coaching experience. You see most of them get exposed.
Nathaniel Hackett. The list goes on and on. All those guys, young gun. Brian Dable maybe is an exception, right? Brian Dable didn't have any, but
Brian Dable has been an NFL coordinator for a long time. I mean, he was with the Patriots, then he went to Alabama, then he went to Buffalo, and that's where he got his head coaching. It's not like he's like a 1-year wonder or 2 years. They're talking about now, the next guy is Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator from Georgia. Oh, maybe he'll be a head coach. Dude, they've had 2 good years in college. The answer is no. Cliff Kingsbury, Texas Tech for a couple of years, head coaching job. No.
Gungun says, Grumpy, I think you said if the Finns win this week, they're in. Not true. If the Jets win the next 2, and the Finns win the next 2, the Jets get in along with the Patriots' loss.
If the Dolphins win the next 2, there's no way they're not in. They have a 1-game on lead on both those teams, the Jets and New England. They're 8-7. The other 2 teams are 7-8.
Let me see here. I'll pull up who the remaining games are. The Dolphins play the Patriots and then the Jets. So if the Jets win the next 2, that means they lose to that means the Dolphins lose.
And the winning percentage, strength of victory and strength of schedule are both in Miami's favor over the Jets and New England. New England, head to head, they win the tiebreaker over Tennessee and Pittsburgh based on winning percentage of the conference games, and they beat the Jets twice. So the Jets have to win out, and for them to get any shot. Here's the thing, New England sucks. All Miami's got to do realistically is win 1 game.
Watch out for those Pittsburgh Steelers. Joseph C. said the Mets need offense. John Heyman is saying, okay, that's right. He made the connection. He made the correction. There it is. And Drew also says, honestly, it could possibly be the Ravens get Derek Carr if Lamar Jackson leaves.
It's Greg Roman, I think, is the offensive coordinator there. I mean, everything's been geared around Lamar Jackson's running. All of it. Everything.
Andrew L. said, TJ, you always suck. On the topic of baseball, sorry. Miserable offseason. Verlander, Senga. Hold on. Edwin Diaz is on the team already. I'm not giving him credit for who is hold on. Are we going to the Islanders school of announcing how we do the offseason? We've had a fantastic offseason. We've signed back Noah Dobson. We've signed back Kiefer Bellows. We've signed back Sebastian Aho. No. You don't get credit for signing back the guys who are already on your roster. Sorry, not happening, Andrew. But okay, Verlander, Senga, Rayleigh, Dustin Robertson. Yeah, sure, we got a setup, man. Fantastic. Jose Quintana, Ottavino, I'm sorry,
Ottavino.
and potentially Correa. Okay, we needed to hit. We lost Jacob deGrom for Verlander. That's a net neutral move.
If that
Doesn't do much for us. And we lost Taijuan Walker, and we bring over Senga. Who knows how Senga's going to work? Taijuan Walker sure as shit worked for us, and we don't have Chris Bassett anymore, right?
right.
So we lost Chris Bassett,
But
we
they-
lost Taijuan Walker, and we bring in Senga.
And they brought in
Ottavino.
Quintana. They brought him in. But he's another guy who's
Quintana. Up and down.
He's okay. Chris Bassett's better than him, in my opinion.
I'm a big Taijuan Walker fan. I've let that been known for a while, and I liked how he played. Chris Bassett played well when healthy last year, and DeGrom when healthy is better than Justin Verlander.
If not for injuries, DeGrom's better than Verlander. I think they took a step back. Injuries, who knows, right? But I think we can all say that DeGrom's better than Verlander. Verlander's going to be 40. He's in his 40s now. He's not going to be the same guy, and it certainly helped his numbers playing for Houston.
Yeah. You're playing, you've got great bats around. You can pitch more freely. You don't have to feel like everything.
He was with Houston last year,
Yeah. You won comeback player of the year. He had a fantastic year for them.
How is Scherzer going to look coming back?
That's true, right? Scherzer's not getting better the more he ages. So I'm like,
injured more.
Yeah, I'm like, you look at like guys like that. I'm like, okay, it's not we're probably best case scenario. Scherzer stays flat. Most likely, Scherzer starts to drop a little bit. Maybe not significant, but a little bit. I'm just like, I don't think what we did was enough. And adding a guy who's potentially got an unstructurally sound knee to the mix, that doesn't solve the batting issue for us.
Senga, I mean, we don't know about him. Diaz is just a re-sign. Nimmo's a re-sign.
Yeah.
Way too much money for Nimmo. Sorry.
Whatever. It's not my money. He can spend as much money as he wants.
Robertson, okay. They need to beef up their bullpen. Okay, Robinson. Okay, I don't think much of Ottavino. Quintana's replacement for Walker. Okay, I think didn't they lose Carrasco? Is he still back for one more year?
I think he's back one more year.
Okay. I mean,
yeah,
they need an outfielder. They need a big hitting outfielder. I mean, Correa. Okay, the Batty kid looked pretty good coming up, right? I mean,
yeah, limited time, but yeah.
I mean, still now catching. Now you're going to have Alvarez be your everyday guy. That's what I'm assuming when you let go of James McCann. So who's going to be your catcher? I liked what they really liked what they did last offseason. Not so much this year. It just seemed like they're kind of treading water and doing reactionary moves, which is never good.
Our pitching staff was one of the best pitching staffs in the MLB last year, and we lost 3 starting pitchers off that staff. Who knows? Maybe they gel. Maybe they do a great job. Maybe they don't.
Chris Bassett underrated. Chris Bassett underrated. I love Chris Bassett.
Underrated as a 5.
I mean, I know you love Walker, but to me, he's a number 5. Okay. But for me, Chris Bassett's a huge loss. Huge loss.
Taijuan Walker quietly had a 3.49 ERA and a 1.19 WHIP. As a number 5 guy, you're not going to catch any complaints from me.
I like how they potentially strengthened the bullpen. Robertson's probably better in a setup role, always has been. Ottavino, I just don't like those little sidearm, underhand type guys. I know some guys can't hit them, but you really have to be careful when they're in the game.
And we've got the ghost ball coming to town in Senga. I hope Senga works out. But it very well could be an absolute bust that only translates to Japanese baseball.
Not real big.
No. I'm hoping he works out. As a Mets fan, I'm hoping he does. As a Mets fan, I'm hoping these moves transpire. And I'm hoping DeGrom doesn't tear it up and have a fantastic year for the Rangers. I'm hoping we have Verlander comes out there and looks like he hasn't missed a beat at 42 years old.
I just don't understand. Unless they know something about the medicals that we don't on DeGrom. DeGrom, you paid more for a guy who's 6 years older for 3 years than DeGrom for 5. DeGrom won't even be that age when his contract is up than what Verlander is going to be going into the season. And they're paying him more, like $7-8 million a year more. I just didn't like it. Don't like the deal. It was a reactionary move, in my opinion.
So, also worth mentioning, I forget, Scherzer's 38 too. Verlander 40.
Yeah. They're old.
Verlander's going to be 40 here before the season starts. And you've got
Scherzer's been hurt the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Verlander, 1 year removed from Tommy John surgery. He was good last year, without a doubt. Not so good in the playoffs, but he was good during the regular season play for Houston. Kind of helps.
I just said, Blue Jackets just scored, make it 2-1. With 20 seconds left, the Islanders did hold off. They held off to get the W. Gugu says, Sorokin has given up just 3 goals over the last 3 games. Should we all salute him? Yes.
He's back.
He never freaking left. He never left. That's why you play talent over who's hot. You play the talent because when the talent freaking comes in, they're untouchable, unbeatable, unfreaking touchable, Grump.
Okay. We'll see.
Don't ever doubt my boy, Ilya Sorokin. Ever again, Grumpy. If you do, you're going to be held accountable. Okay. It's funny. I saw on I know this is not Islander show, but I saw on social media, there was somebody who was tweeting about it. They said, hey, for all those of you who doubted the Islanders, you're not invited to the party and a celebration in June. I was just like, holy shit. I guess they think we're winning the cup. We're far from it.
Not happening.
Drew said, sorry, I'm not a Notre Dame fan, TJ, but you better not be a USC fan, Drew.
Because every time Lincoln Riley wins a game, it just proves my point again that he turned them around in 1 year. 1 year.
Yeah, that's cute. Alexander says Derek Carr is a franchise guy. Could be a Dolphin next year.
No.
He's a step up over Tua. Anybody really is a step up over Tua in the league, but he does have that choke gene in him a bit.
He's not the answer. He's not the answer.
Any chance of the People's Champion joining the Jets next season?
0. Less than 0.
Mm-hmm. And it's crazy how Brock Purdy, a.k.a. Mr. Irrelevant so far, is the second best quarterback in the class behind Pickett. What's so funny is Purdy already looks like Jimmy G 2.0, but younger.
He's played, what, 3 games?
Yeah, I was about to say, I like what I've seen from him
against
so far.
Against shitty teams.
What also is important notifying, you see a lot of these quarterbacks who are different that they have no film on. They come out and they play really well that first year. And then they start to struggle since. Lamar Jackson. I think you're going to see the same thing with Jalen Hurts. Really some good film on him this year. We'll see how things look like for him in the future. A lot of guys like that come on the scene. One explosion, and they start to slow off.
I know, Drew, you said what's funny is that Purdy already looks like Jimmy G 2.0, but younger.
He's better than Jimmy G.
That's not a compliment. That's not a compliment.
Oh,
no, Purdy is okay. He's a backup, good backup. Yeah, need a good backup.
I think Purdy has the ability to be better than Jimmy. I don't think anything of Jimmy Garoppolo. Not at all. I think that Jimmy Garoppolo is miserable, anti-clutch, a guy who, if you need him to throw the ball downfield, can't do that. Brock Purdy at least shows me that he has he's got the freaking nuts to do it, which Jimmy Garoppolo always looks like he's too terrified to do anything.
Here's the thing. When Jimmy Garoppolo went to San Francisco and lost his mechanics, he's not the same. He doesn't throw the same, doesn't look the same. He lost his mechanics going out, I left my heart in San Francisco. That old Tony Bennett favorite. It's like he left his mechanics in New England,
Goon says 3 teams tied now for 4th in the Metro. Islanders, Penguins, and the Rangers. Yeah, things are getting tight. And hey, we're going on a little bit of a road trip. At home, the Islanders have the best penalty kill in the NHL. And their power play is much better at home than on the road. I'm like, okay, yeah, we're another one of those teams that are typical, much better at home than on the road. Eve L says, I hate those last-minute Islander breakdowns.
Did we really think that they were going to lose to Columbus?
But, I mean, they wanted maybe the shutout for Sorokin.
Okay.
Would have been nice.
Would have been nice.
A-Rod said he would play with the Dolphins next year.
Mm.
And Alexander says, I'm still off the Tua train. Good, Alexander.
Good.
Good. You're shocked. I'm shocked. And I want that item I signed saying that I apologize because of Tua XYZ. I need that back. We're not Tua. We're sticking by. We've always stood by. Not good enough. Gungun says, TJ Grumpy, what is the secret of how to pull off dressing up and acting like a convincing Santa Claus?
Go ahead, TJ. What do you think?
We talked about this a little bit last year. I didn't know Santa Claus wore gloves until you mentioned, like, yeah, that's right. That guy does wear gloves. It's a funny thing. I thought Michael Jackson too when I said that. To play convincing Santa Claus, you got to have the voice. You got to have like the jolly voice. You got to have the demeanor, like a happy demeanor about it, like chuckling, like leaning back like that, stuff like that. You got to have the beard. You got to look the part. Can't be like one of those raggedy ass looking beards. Obviously, if you can grow a white beard, the better. If you can't, you got to have one attached to your face, and it can't be like one of those cheap Walmart beards. It's got to be like a legit beard over there.
You have to be compassionate with the children when they come up.
That too. That's a good point.
Look them in the eye, talk to them like they're a friend, but you're an authority figure, and just be their friend. What would you like for Christmas? You've been a good, like that. That's what you have to be. You have to be convincing and compassionate. You can't just, no, that's not it. It's the little interactions that you have with the children.
What Grumpy has not told everybody on the show, and I guess this is a better time now than ever, the reason that he's been so busy, Grumpy actually picks up a job every year around December, and he acts as Santa Claus. He is Santa Claus every December. So that's something that Grumpy usually keeps as a secret from the show, but it's out. The cat's out of the bag now, Grump.
And TJ's the elf. Big dopey elf. He's the one that says, "Come on, kid, get up here." All right, get him off. Get out of here. He's the Santa who kicks the kid in the head, sends him down the slide. What do you want for Christmas, little boy?
Greg Fredo says, good evening, TJ and Grumpy. Wearing this Grumpy's Groupie shirt is giving me a new air of confidence that I never knew was possible. Thank you again for that. Thank you both for that. Thank you, Greg. The Grumpy's Groupie shirt. I can't wait to show it on Saturday's show. I can't wait to show it, Greg, on Saturday's show. Grumpy still needs to get you. Grumpy still needs to do his assignment, which I've let him know about multiple times, Greg. It's not me dropping the ball this time. It's Grumpy's fault.
That's correct. You dropped the ball 6 or 7 times. I've dropped it twice.
You've dropped it 1,000,000 times on this. Drew says here, it might sound crazy to hear right now, but Josh Dobbs has a chance to beat Dallas tonight. Dak, he's just stopped playing like crap. I'll be honest with you. Dak has not really been the same guy since that ankle injury.
I just think Mike McCarthy's not a good coach. Right now, with 11 minutes to go, the Cowboys are up by 11.
How do you know that, Grumpy? Is it because you're watching the game?
I'm clairvoyant.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I know you're sitting down there watching the game. Hold on a second. So that's right. Aaron Rodgers is another guy that's probably going to be on the move this offseason.
Who's going to pay $50 million for him? His this year's contract is $50 million.
I'll let you listen to that here. This is what Aaron Rodgers said after the game.
Looks like a hostage situation.
Special day for us. I mean, our defense came up and played outstanding. We were down 20-10 and scored the last 16 points. Offensively, we struggled in the red zone. But this was, special. Everything that we needed to happen this weekend happened. All we had to do was take care of our business against a good football team who I'd like to play for as well. But I'm really proud.
He said all you had to do is take care of a good football team who I'd like to play for as well. I'm not sure if that's just him.
That's not what he said. That's not what he said.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Jesus Christ. Listen to it again.
Just put it on the last 5 seconds. Make it louder. We can barely hear it.
That's as loud as it goes, Grumpy. This is the fucking audio that was sent to us, man. Just relax.
Make it louder. You tuned the loudness down. I saw you drop it down. Right to the top. It's got to go to the top.
I swear to God.
Right to the roof.
I can't wait till Sun X is on the show. We'll talk about your fucking rabbit ears over there, okay? This is as loud as it gets. So listen, Grumpy.
Let me tell you something. It's going to work out a lot worse for you than it is for me when Sun X is
on. Listen with your ears, Grumpy. Listen with your ears.
You got to put it on.
Can you not hear it?
No. It's not up on the screen either.
Fuck. I swear. It's like, do you have to have the screen up in order to hear things, Grumpy?
It wasn't on.
This weekend happened. All we had to do was take care of our business against a good football team who had not to play for as well. But I'm really proud of our team.
We need to take care of business against a good football team who would like to play for as well, is what he says.
Yeah, I wouldn't read anything into that. Nothing.
I was about to say I wouldn't either. It just seems like a misspeak, to be honest. Anyway, continuing on. State of Survival says, do you suffer from Bailey derangement syndrome? If so,
Alexia is for you. One dose every 2 minutes lowers your blood pressure and makes you feel like the Josh Bailey experiment never happened.
How can we go ahead and get Grumpy that? But he also says, potential side effects, Grumpy, may include erectile dysfunction, a deep desire to wear a maple leaf pajamas, eczema, passivity, erectile itch, diarrhea, earwax, and a yearning for Brian Strait to unretire. Also, low blood and T counts,
low blood T cell counts,
and
likely COVID reactions and pickle cravings are also among common side effects. Nice to see State of Survival back. I love the three quotes right in a row there. I do not want to get Bailey derangement syndrome. Some people have it, and it's like herpes. It never goes away.
Alexander says, but believe it or not, the NFL loves Tua because the last 2 years, Tua was the number one selling jersey.
Not true. Not true.
The NFL does have it out for the Dolphins, though.
Not true. Number one's been Tom Brady.
I heard number one has been Grumpy. It's been Zach Wilson. So you're both wrong. Drew also says here, TJ, can we see the green screen behind your $1 million house? No, there is no green screen behind this. This is just the $1 million house, Drew. There's no green screen here. Alexander says here, if the Dolphins win and the Jets lose Sunday, Miami is in.
Mike White's coming back, supposedly.
Bassett was good, but yeah, he wasn't Bassett. It sucked towards the end of the season.
He was hurt a little bit at the end. I liked him as a number 3. Good guy to have for number 3.
James F says here, Casey Ezekiel's 700th game. Kind of
fourth,
put him up in the rafters too.
A fourth liner who plays 700 games for a franchise. Fourth liner. Never been higher than the fourth line.
They're trying to trade Carrasco, and they signed Navarro. That's right. And Bassett sucks. I don't know about that. The numbers are pretty good. Just James F says here, guys, the Islanders going on a 4-game road trip. What's the record and who's in goal? I think we talked about that. The road trip, I think 1, 2, and 1. I think is what I said over that road trip. 4-game road trip.
I think I said 3 and 1. Didn't I say 3 and 1?
Maybe you did. I don't know. You got a chance to see them. They played the Kraken, the Canucks, Oilers, and the Flames.
Yeah. 2 and 2. Maybe I said 2 and 2. I don't know. That's usually historically a tough trip for the Islanders.
1, 2, and 1 is what I'm looking at. Sanga is an upgrade over Bassett. How do we know? How do we know?
We don't know.
I'd like, and I got to pull up Bassett's numbers because you're getting me over here saying that Bassett did not play well this season. I got to pull this up. I'm going to have to call you on this, Alexander. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I've misread. Okay. An ERA of a 3.42 ERA. It's not bad. As a number 3, that's really good. I don't know.
Whip? What was his whip?
Christ almighty here. God,
he's solid. I mean, I like Chris Bassett. I really have always liked him. And he changed leagues, which means he didn't know the hitters. He was really good for Oakland a couple of years ago as well. Really good. I think he won 19 games. He's good. I like Chris Bassett. Always have.
Okay, you've stalled long. Damn, they don't have fucking updated.
Have I stalled long enough or not?
No, they screwed up. Okay, whip 114, a 114 whip. 23rd in the league.
There you go. That's pretty good.
28th best ERA.
There you go.
Is it? Or maybe if starting pitchers, I don't know.
Yeah, with starting pitchers, I'm certain of it. What does it tell you? He's a top-level starting pitcher.
Tied for 33rd in the strikeouts. Tied for 8th in the win-loss department. I tell you, we had one of the best pitching staffs in the league last year.
Yep.
You know, I don't know. Think we took a step back, perhaps.
Yep.
And I want Senga to be good. Who knows how he translates? I just remember the last guy who had one of those Dice K. I thought my memory of Dice K was much more rosy than what he actually was for the Red Sox. But Bassett's going to struggle with the pitch clock. All he does is he wanders around the mound. In the big games, Bassett failed to show up. Goodbye, bitch.
I'm sorry. I think Bassett's a good pitcher. I guess they same thing about Scherzer, right? He disappeared in the big games. Absolutely did.
And he says, enjoy the Canadian dictatorship, Bassett. Alexander says here, DeGrom never wanted to come back to the Mets because of Alderson.
We'll never know.
Frank says, hello, happy new year, gents and ladies. What's up, Frank? Good says, TJ, you've been very lively and up-tempo today and last night. Did you have ants in your pants? No, I'm not on my normal setup. So who knows? Who knows? Drew says here, USC, South Carolina, not Southern California. That's right. I forgot they're playing USC. Okay. They're not.
It's South Carolina, not Southern Cal. USC is Southern California. Okay. USC is not South Carolina. It's not. You're the only one who calls it that. It's not South Carolina. USC is the University of Southern California, period. South Carolina is South Carolina.
Okay. He said he was going to watch USC play Notre Dame. Not me, Grumples, not me. I don't know why you keep trying to blame that on me. I'll pull the comment back up.
Actually, I would think Notre Dame and Southern Cal would be a pretty good game, actually.
They play at the end of the year anyway, all the time. So they already played at the end of the year. They're not going to play again in the bowl game.
Yeah, that's right. That makes sense.
I don't know why I didn't think of that too when I said it. Frank says,
Islanders. Who won that game?
Are we trying to move through these comments?
Who won the game?
I've got to get to the piano. I got to get to the piano. Grumples.
Who won between Notre Dame and Southern Cal? Who won?
I don't recall.
Southern
Drew
Cal.
says here, I can't wait till the Titans get a good quarterback because Treylon Burks' talent is just being absolutely wasted on this team.
He's fat.
Treylon Burks won't be in the league long term.
He's fat. He's going to eat himself out of the league. Fat.
Reminds me of Kelvin Benjamin. Guy doesn't run great routes, a big wide out. Guy who can maybe get a little separation, but you worry, going to eat himself out of the league. Brock Purdy. There's such a Purdy pass. This guy looks so Purdy tonight also. Google says, TJ, is tonight the night you boldly play Scorpions Wind of Change the fart along? And fill in the show's music quota for tonight. Jesus Christ. Let me get that. I guess you'll keep reading, Grumpy. God almighty, the fart along.
Drew Reviews Music says Santa Claus is a bad influence on children because ho, ho, ho. Very good. Goon says, I didn't watch much basketball, but I happened to watch the end of the Knicks' colossal choke against Dallas the other night. What a bunch of suckers. That's fine. They're unwatchable, except when they have the lead at halftime. Drew Reviews Music said, oh, TJ, I just sent you a picture of what Nicole Sherman tweeted. I thought it was funny. I don't know what it is. Maybe TJ will look it up.
Here it is, Grump. I'll pop it up on the screen here. There it is. It's feeling nostalgic for these. I've only had Atu Ratu for a week, but if anything happened to him, I would kill everybody in the league and then myself. And it says 30 idiots passed over me. That's cute.
One thing about Nicole, she does love those blonde boys from Europe.
That she does.
Drew says, and his profile. Okay, we can skip that one.
Yeah.
Alexander says, Grump, we all know deep down inside that you think Josh Bailey is a Hall of Famer. He's a Hall of Shamer. His wife does the walk of shame leaving the bedroom every night.
You're grumpy.
Grumpy from Drew says, Grumpy, what's the point of having Bailey derangement syndrome when you'll have Bailey deranged syndrome 2.0 and Casper Holmstrom? Well, then it'll change its name. Then the name will change to protect the innocent.
Oh, God. So let's see what this is. I can tell just by the look of this, Grumpy. We may be in for a treat. Let's look here.
Had a pretty awesome night last night. Some of you bought my t-shirt. Thank you. It touches me here and there. Imagine the wallet. Ching.
Okay.
All right. I hit the gong on this one. Gong.
You
Gong.
done with that, Grumpy? You done with that? Oh goodness, the fart alarm.
I just wonder if that would be one of the top 50 albums of the last 20 years. If
We'll have
that
to get
song
Greg on.
would
We'll
be-
have to get Greg on the show and ask his professional opinion, Grumpy. We'll have to get Greg on and ask him. Alexander Grumpy.
And we all know you were jumping for joy when Simon Holmstrom debuted for the Islanders. The best thing was he got hurt.
Fourth liner plays 700 games with the Islanders. Why? Because he wins faceoffs, damn it.
No.
Hudson the Hornets playing great, by the way, says Frank. Grumpy Drew's got another comment here for you.
You know, is it just me, or does it seem like the Rangers recently just cannot draft good talent? Lafreniere and Kakko looking like busts that need a change of scenery. So what? They're 21 and 20 years old, and these are guys you want to give up on. Okay,
they're ready to give up.
Kakko scored a nice goal to beat us the other.
On the fourth line.
Kakko scored a nice goal to beat us last week. That's all I know.
Frank Grumpy.
Even Barzal with a great goal again. Ever since I got his jersey, he's been on fire. Hey, Lou, you owe me. Where's the bread? Bing bong.
Do you know what the bing bong is from?
It's Drizzly. Bing bong. It's Drizzly.
No. The bing bong is from a Twitter. It's a TikTok thing.
Oh, okay.
And yep, that contract and the captaincy, that's what his name. To what's his name made me scratch my head, says Frank. Rob G says, "Hey fellas, you've been loving the Islanders. The 3-game Islanders win streak. Go Islanders!"
I thought that they would lose to Pittsburgh, but I thought they'd win the other 2 games.
Yep. Drew says here, people call USC South Carolina USC Grumpy. Well, it depends on what region you're in.
Okay, the rest of the country, except unless you live in South Carolina or part of the SEC, it's the University of Southern Cal is USC. Period. When you look at the schedule, they don't have USC. They have South Carolina on there.
I like this one. Rob G says Grumples. I love it, TJ. Yeah, I was about to say I like the name Grumples. Grumples. It's gonna slowly catch on. Frank says here, Rob, I got myself my Merzal jersey, and he's hot. He's on fire. When are you guys gonna have great guest on again? When I get back to the home base, when I get back, we'll start working that out, working out the fine details as to getting to some friends back on, friends of the show back on. And Alexander says, "What the hell is that? I'm dying laughing." Talking about that far along. Rob G says here, "I've been here. Happy holidays, buddy. Thank you. Happy holidays there, Rob." And laughing out loud at that fat fart song there. Hope you had a happy holidays. Frank says, "Absolutely, you guys too." I could have sworn I saw Cizikas on the line with Matt Barzal. Grump.
Okay. I mean, I don't remember him. I mean, it could have been just something where they just mixing lines up. Somebody had a skate blade issue or something like that. He doesn't play on the first line.
And Sunday night, the Islanders and the Kraken. I can't wait. They're going to play Jordan Eberle's on ESPN TV.
Right.
Oh, yeah. And Gugu says, which fast food restaurant gives you the most bang for your buck? Cookout. Cookout gives you the most bang for your buck. No doubt about it. No doubt. Cookout.
Okay.
What about you, Grumpy?
Maybe Arby's.
God, Arby's. We've got the meat. Arby's. We got the meat. Give you the most bang for your buck.
Arby's. Now it's absolutely Arby's now. Because
Okay.
your mouth, it's Arby's.
Okay, Grumpy. But you're going to read the last few comments. Okay.
Frank said Rangers had a good GM and a moron owner, fired him because the Islanders kicked their butts and he did an anger firing. It was a mistake, right? Let's be honest. Norton is a good GM. Was
Rumpelstiltskin.
Okay, I like it. Gungu says, was the Stanley Cup named after Kiss legend Paul Stanley? No, it was not.
Lord Stanley.
Lord Stanley.
Drew sent us a little meme. Grumpy, it's your favorite guy. You love this little kid when he talks about Sonic the Hedgehog. He says, Titan fans watching Zach Wilson give the Jaguars a free W.
Is a nightmare.
That little guy, that little kid. He lives on in meme lore forever and ever. And happy New Year's. Absolutely, guys. Happy New Year to everybody. And TJ, please preach, cook out. What a burger. Alexander throws in there. And Drew says, Grumpy, I can't eat any recommended restaurants that have meat if you're freaking Arby's. That have the meat. Oh, good gracious. And Arby's is criminally underrated. Get a buffalo chicken slider. You'll get a feeling you've never felt before.
I like Arby's.
I eat Arby's. I like the ones with like a chicken, bacon, and Swiss.
I like their sandwiches, and they're fairly affordable compared to some other places.
Yeah. Arby's has a burger now. That's what he says.
True.
I was literally just talking. I was literally thinking that about Arby's too, says Andrew. But Grumpy, man, we're here at the end of the show. It's been almost a week and a half since we did a TJ and the Grumpy Old Man, so we had to get on today.
Had to get on. Let's watch the People's Champion once again drag the Succaneers to a division title by beating the Carolina Panthers this week. We can only hope. Big game. It's a playoff game. Have to do it. A boatload of injuries, morons in the coaching positions, idiots in the front office. Can the People's Champion lead them to a first-round playoff defeat? We can find out.
Okay.
I just want to say love and laughter to everyone who listens, and even those who don't, from TJ and the Grumpy Old Man.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning into the show. We'll be live here this Sunday. Should be normal advertised, normal scheduled viewing. There's a lot of college football on the horizon. Enjoy New Year's Day games. Enjoy tomorrow's games. Oh man, and even the next day's game, Saturday's game. You're gonna get a lot of great football on the horizon, ladies and gentlemen. For everybody who tuned into the show, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for commenting in, talking with us, getting to talk a little football, talk a little bit of the legacy that Pele had, talk a little bit of Tua, talking a little bit of everything, college football playoffs. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and thank you again, as always, Grumpy Old Man.
My pleasure. TJ, can I just say one thing? Florida State ranked 13th in the country, just hung on to beat a shitty Oklahoma team, which just tells you how bad the ACC is. Good night, everyone.
The ACC's better than you think, Grump. Don't you forget it. Anyway, thanks so much. Good night, everybody. Good night, Grump.